Hi there. Welcome to Board Games with Scott Live. And so, what we're doing in this show is we're exploring different games. I started this because during the lockdown, I wasn't able to play games with people. And I had this giant pile building of games in shrink wrap, and I don't like that. And so, I wanted a chance to play some games and chat with people. So, we are live here. So, hello, Sheila. If you comment, I will be able to see your comments and talk to you about what's going on. There's a bit of lag between the comments and when I see them. That's just the way the streaming stuff works. But today we're going to be talking about startups from Oink Games. And so what I do during this show is I play the game. This time I'm going to set it up for 3 players. I'll play the game. I'll talk about it as I play it. It's not designed as a full-blown teaching video, but more a gameplay experience and a chance for me to talk about it as a professor would. As I analyze this game and talk about it like I would with my students. So that's really the experience you're getting. Hello, Alan. If you came to my lab and had a seat, so I have Sheila, I have Alan here. We're going to chat about what's going on with Startup. So Startup is from Oink Games. Oink Games is a neat little company. They do these games that are all quite small, and there's a whole series of them. 2 of my other favorites are Deep Sea Adventure and A Fake Artist Goes to New York. And I really like those 2 games. I like to have these games. These are good. I've talked about cruise games before. I like to cruise. In fact, this is my Disney cruise ship mug from my Disney cruise that I took. Which, by the way, if you ever are interested in... hello, Joe. And hello, Algie. If you're ever interested in cruising and you like Disney stuff, a Disney cruise is quite the experience. The Imagineers have made the ship, so that's got a lot of the Disney magic on the ship, the music from space to space, and carpets that always tell you where you are, and all sorts of magical stuff that happens during the meals. It's a pretty cool experience. They also have, just like the ship has areas for kids and areas for teenagers, there's areas just for adults as well on the Disney cruise ships. So if you're grown-ups without kids, you have an eating place, you have a swimming place, you have areas of the ship that are just for you. And still you get to engage in the Disney magic when you want to. So it's nice to be able to get away from and do that yourself. But anyway, so what goes on in startups is you are an investor. And so you're going to be investing in these companies. These companies have a number on them, which tells you how many cards there are in the deck. And that's really all the important information. There's colors to discriminate them. Now, what you do is before you start the game, you pull out 5 cards. And so from a game design perspective, what this is doing, it's preventing card counting. If I knew that there are always going to be 6 shares of a certain company that are in that deck, and I could count them, I knew when people were getting certain shares, and I may have some idea of who's got what. But by taking 5 of them out, there's a 5 I'll never know about, so those numbers are not completely accurate. The game ends after the last card is drawn after that turn. So you are going to get this whole deck in play. Now, the way the game's going to work, and the way I'm going to play it here, is I'm going to play 3 hands, because it's for 3 to 7 players, I believe. Yeah, big group, which is good for taking on cruises and things like that. That's what got me talking about cruises. Cruise ship games are games that are in small packages but have interesting gameplay. So this might be good for that kind of situation. What I'm going to do is, because it's almost like poker, you've got your whole cards here. These are things that are important. So these are cards I have. Oh, wow, that's an interesting start. So I have 3 of the 7 flamingos already hidden in my hand. Now, at the end of the game, you're going to be revealing what you had in hand and adding it to what you have in front of you, and whoever has the majority of shares in a company is going to get paid. And so it's kind of like a choir, if you've ever played that. So that's the key part of the game, is you have 3 cards, you're going to have secret, everything else is open information, and you're trying to have the majority in different companies. The way I'm going to play it is I'm not going to look at these 2 whole hands, I'm not going to know what's there. And so I will make smart decisions for these players based on the situation that I can see. However, I don't know what they have in front of them, so that's going to give me some unknown. It's not going to be perfect. It's not a perfect solo, but it's going to be good enough to help you all understand how this game plays out. So the way this works is on your turn, you are first going to draw a card. And so did I shuffle the cards? Not only did I shuffle the cards, but I did the pile shuffle of the cards, because I played the game once and then I pulled them up in order, and then I piled them out, pile, and by the way, piling shuffle is what I use in a game when I want to make sure the cards are mixed up. What I'll do is I'll take the deck like this, and I'll start making piles of 4 or 5 piles, like so, and then stack them up this way, and then gather them. And that's actually, anytime I want to really work on randomizing cards, that's what I'll do, is that sort of pile shuffle. And then I'll go ahead and do some normal shuffles as well. So there you go. But yeah, so I did the pile shuffle. So there you go. We just happened to pull that. So that's an interesting starting position. So on my turn, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a card. Now, right now, my only choice is to take the card from here. That's going to give me 4 cards in hand. Now, what I have to do is I now have 2 choices. I can either play a card in front of me, which indicates I'm investing in the company, or I can play a card out here, which indicates I don't want to invest in the company. Now, what I'm trying to do in the game is I'm trying to have the majority in different stocks. But more importantly, the other thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get my opponents to want to think they can get the majority in those stocks. Because that's what this game is at heart. It's a game of bluffing. The big payouts in this game are coming from getting other people to buy into the stocks that you end up having the most of. So at the end of the game, if I have the majority of 7 of this stock here, then anyone that got stocks in that company that chose to invest is going to have to pay me. And the way they pay me is, this is a closed economy game, kind of. Each player starts with 10 one-point chips. Now, at the end of the game, this is going to be your points. And anyone that invests in a company you own has to give you 1 chip for each company card they have in your company, and the one you have the most. But here's the trick. When you take these chips, you flip them over, and for you, they become 3 points. Now, that's a cool thing. First, incredibly elegant way of making it so that the points, all of a sudden I don't have to add on bonus things. I can just flip the coin over, and all of a sudden it turns to 3. But the impact of that is that this player is losing a little bit. I am gaining a lot. And so you're always thinking about that in the game. You're thinking, well, if for every card I take in someone else's company, I'm going to have to give them one of my chips at the end of the game. But for them, each chip becomes 3 chips. And that's why I say it's kind of a closed economy. These are the only 30 chips in the game. But at the end, you have these bumps when the ones become 3s if you have to hand them over. And that's where the whole cards come into play. Like, because I'm looking at 3 7s, I may try to play off like, oh yeah, I'll get into it a little bit, see what happens, and then, ha-ha, I'll try to take you out. So now I've got to choose what to do. So my choices are, I have the 7s. I want to keep that as hidden information. So I'm going to play this 9. Now I can either play it in front of me and get involved with 9s, or I can discard it. And I think I'm going to go ahead and play it in front of me and get involved. Now the first person to have a majority in company takes a tile to say they've got the majority. And this does a couple things. This is called the anti-monopoly tile. When I have this in front of me like this, I cannot take cards that are face up that are for this company. And I'll explain how those get in a minute. I also don't have to pay for those cards. Again, I'll explain that in a minute. But this always goes to the first person to open it. If someone else gets more than me, they'll take that token away from me. But if they just get 1, it'll stay the same. So that's my turn. That's the turn. You draw a card, you play a card either in front of you, or you play a card and throw it away in the middle. So now we'll go to this player's turn. So we'll flip over. Brown, there's no brown on the table, so we're going to say, yep, let's get involved in that. So we're going to put brown, and that means that person is now majority holder in brown for now. All right, so now we go to this player, and this player got a red. No one else is in red, so sure, let's get involved. Now this is where, again, I'm not playing as smart as I would play for these 2 players because I don't know what's in their down hand, but I just want to give a feeling of what the game is like. So, and you'll get that feeling from the way this plays out. Okay, so my turn. So I drew an orange card. Now I don't have any orange cards in hand, but they don't have any out either, so I think there's only 5 oranges. So I'm going to go ahead and start that up just to see how that goes. Okay, this player. Okay, another brown card, that's fine. We'll use that to strengthen our investment. And over here, okay, so now we have a choice. So this player drew a brown card. Now, this player sees, well, he's already got 2. I probably don't want to get involved with that. So what I'm going to do with this is just throw it out in the middle. Now, if you've ever played No Thanks, this is where No Thanks comes into play. So now it's my turn. If I want to take that down card, I first have to pay off all the cards that are sitting in the middle that are sitting out there. And so this is where the no thanks. So I know right now that's probably a losing card, and I don't want to take it. The anti-monopoly token prevents this player from taking it. So this is where the no thanks elements comes in, that all the other players are now going to have to put tokens on this card to say, I don't want it, until someone finally says, okay, I'll take it, and then they will end up getting all the tokens on it. So they want to do that once there's enough tokens to offset the loss of this card. One token will offset the loss of this, having this card if they don't win the majority. One token will offset that, but that player gets 3, so you may want to hold out for more. All right, so now we jump over to this player. There's no one else in 6, so we'll go ahead and get that going. Oh, wait. To do that, I had to pay 1. I got to remember this. Okay, so now it comes to me. So I either take this and I get the 2 chips on it, or again, this is like no thanks if you've ever played that, or I take this, and I think I do want the mystery card. We're still trying to get invested in things, so I'm going to pay on that. And, oh, I drew another one of my oranges. So now I've got an interesting choice. If my hope is to maybe get the other players involved in orange, I may want to keep this secret, because it only takes 5 oranges. There's only 5 in the game. And if someone else thinks they might be able to get it. Right, the tokens that I take won't be flipped. You don't flip tokens until the absolute end of the game. They all stay face down. They're all 1 point until just the last, and then they're used to pay off the people who had the majority of it. So I think what I'm going to do is, if I don't really, I could give away my flamingo holding. So I'm just going to go ahead and play it and say, yeah, that's probably going to be mine. Now notice, here's an interesting twist, is if no one else buys into giraffe, if no one else plays into giraffe, I'm not going to get any endgame bonus. There's no score you get for having a company. The only score you get is if other players are invested in your company. So at this point, what this becomes for me is a bully card that they're not going to want to play orange. They're going to have to discard those oranges. Now this player goes. Now here's the thing. When you are the monopoly holder in a company, you can't take this face down card, but you also don't have to pay for the face down card. So for you, for this player, it's a bit of a safety. It's like I don't have to pay anything, but I can't take it. So one of these players is going to have to take it at some point, but they're going to get the chips with it. And that's that decision, that no thanks decision. So right now, it's not a bad time to take it. You'd get 3 chips. You know you're going to be giving one of your chips to that player, which is going to become 3 chips. I haven't played this enough to understand where that breaking point is. I'm playing it with my smarts. I'm playing it at about 3 is that breaking point. But this player just gets to draw. So he got a red card. He doesn't want a red card because this player's already got one. So he's going to go ahead and throw that red card in the pot. Over here, so now this player's like, yeah, I don't really want to pay. He's the majority. He can't do this. He'd have to pay 1 for there. He doesn't really want to pay another one. He could get 3. So he's going to go ahead and take these 3 and take it. Now, here's the thing. He's going to take this card and actually not play it face up. Instead, what he's going to do is get something else out. So he's going to play that instead. So there we go. So this is where I'm not playing as smart as I could, but that's how it goes. But now he's challenging Hippo. So if he gets 1 more Hippo, he's going to take over the Hippo rule. Okay, and now we're going to go here. So for me, I have to play 1 on there if I want to stay in. And I drew another one of my flamingos. So now I'm looking at 4 flamingos, so I have no choice but to go ahead and kind of show my hand with flamingos and get going with that, which is not a horrible thing. Okay, so now we're here. So now he got a Hippo. Well, he doesn't want any business with hippos whatsoever. So he's going to just get rid of that. Oh, in order for him to play there, he has to pay a chip. So you always have to pay for every card that you pass over. So now this player goes, well, this player clearly wants the hippos. So he'll take the hippo, and now that makes him the majority holder. The hippos have gotten involved. I think it's cute that their tail is what they plug in. That's just a cute thing. All right, over to here. So that red is still in play. I don't want it. And I drew a hippo fight. So we're going to have a hippo fight. Now here's the thing. It's 2 and 2, but this player can't take hippos out of the face-up cards because they have the monopoly. So if I can get 1 more hippo show in here, maybe that player will draw one. Big thumbs up. So now I'm looking at a pile of 3 chips. I could add 1 to it. But if I add 1 to it, I imagine that this player will take them. So I'm going to go ahead and take the chips. Also, because it's a no-thanks situation, you can look at chips. As they start to get shorter, it's going to force players to have to take things. So he took 1. He took the card. So he'll go ahead and play it because this is interesting. It's putting him close to being able to engage for fighting for this one. Okay, over here. So we're going to go. It's a free draw. There's nothing in the way. A brown, stupid brown. We don't like browns. But I know that I drew a brown earlier. So that's interesting. So maybe we might go for it and see if we can get involved. So there we go. We're going to threaten brown. Over here, a free draw. I drew a blue. Now, I don't really want any part of blue. He's got a blue. There's only 6 blues in there. I don't want to be involved. So for this player, now this player, if he wants to draw from the deck, he has to play on there. So he'll go ahead and do that. And ooh, we got a second red, which now he is in charge of red. Now this player can't take the blue because they're the majority holder in it, or the monopoly, the anti-monopoly token. They can't take it, but they also don't have to pay for it. So they get a free draw off the deck. Another red. So yeah, we're going to have a fight here, aren't we? So here's the thing. As you amp up that fight, that's going to turn into a bigger payout at the end for whoever wins. Because for every card you have in their color, you have to pay a chip. Okay. Meanwhile, I do have to pay for the blue because I don't have that monopoly marker. Oh, I got another one of my flamingos, so I might as well just, you know what? So this is interesting. I have 3 flamingos in my hand. There's one here. I have the majority in flamingos. I know I do. So I can put it out here because I don't need to have it. I've got the majority, and now it becomes an annoyance for the other players. They're going to have to pay that flamingo or finally take it, and if they take it, then it's going to be good for me. So kind of good for me either way. This player is going to have to pay both cards if they want a random draw, and they kind of do because they're getting involved in things here and they want more help. So they got another octopus, so they'll just play that. Over here, so this player does not have to pay the blue, but does have to pay the pink. So we'll do that. And oh, we got another blue. Well, that's good. Now we go to me. So I could take that blue. That's going to get me the 3 chips. The question is, if I pass on it, do I think that player will continue to pay in? And I think that player will take the chips away from me to try and short me of chips. So I'm going to go ahead and take the blue. I'm not thrilled about it. I'm going to keep my flamingo secret in hand and go ahead and put that out. At the end of the game, it doesn't matter whether they're in your hand or face up. They're both going to count towards your shares. So you're not helping you're not really saving it by putting it in your hand. It's more about what information you want to share out. All right, so now this player's got to pay the pink. He doesn't want the pink, and he could be fooled and say, I am going to try to get into the pink, but he's not. Green, totally useless to him. He has no interest in green. Over here, so this guy has the monopoly token in green, so he can't take it. He's looking at the pink, and he's got to pay another one. So I've been kind of playing that 3 is my point of taking, so we'll go ahead and take that, and we might as well throw it out there. So now we go to me here. There's a green. I can just take that green, and that makes me now the monopoly holder in green. Here, free draw, a green. What is this crap? No one wants green. Over here, now this is interesting. So this is where the fight is. It's like, do I go in deeper and take more green on this player, or try to fight for this majority? I think, or do I lock in my losses and just say, I really don't want that. The other option I could do is leave it out there knowing that this player is going to pay it, and then I can take it next turn and I'll get a point. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to go and put a point on it, hoping that I will get it on the next go around. Again, the no thanks trick there. Got a red. Red is nice. So red makes him now the president of red. Over here, so there's a green. I can't take it. I don't have to pay for it because I have the anti-monopoly marker. So I'm going to flip one. I got another one of my oranges. At this point, it's like, well, whatever, Oh, no, I'm going to... I don't have the majority of it, and I know he has a card. I know someone else has an orange, so I'm going to go ahead and take it. So I now have the orange majority. I know I do. Over to here. There's a green out there. He certainly doesn't want it, so he's like, that's all nonsense. Got a pink. So now he's got to decide to either keep this pink or throw away this pink. Now he looks out, and there's a pink there and a pink there. That's probably not good on either side, so he's going to go ahead and pitch it because he doesn't want to be involved. Now over here, now this player has some interesting choices. I could take this one and it'd come with the 2 points. I could take this one, let this ride for a turn, and hope he doesn't take it. And I think that's what we're going to do, because we think now if we take this, we're going to have flamingo majority over here. Now to me, I can't take that. I don't have to pay for it. Instead, I take a card, and I got a red. Red is useless, completely useless. I'm just going to throw it out there. This player can take this red. Now, if you take any of the face-up cards, you don't have to pay the other face-up cards. Only if you want the face-down card do you have to put a coin on each of the face-up cards. So we'll go ahead and take that, and that's ties for 3 and 3. So he doesn't yet have the win. Over to this player. Now this player is thinking, well, maybe it's time to go ahead and take this and get the coins with it. Yes, a Phlegmajority. I'm sorry I said that. That was someone, Aldi in the chat suggested that was what it should be called. So there you go. You can blame them. Okay, here. So I've got nothing to pay, so I get to just draw another 6. So now I'm in this interesting situation. If I take one, I'm tied. If I can get one more, I'll take it away from him. And I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to threaten. Over here. Okay, another red. So that actually gives him the lead of red. Over here. Brown. Brown is horrible. He doesn't think he has a chance of winning brown. I know he's got one brown in the hand, though. So maybe he's going to go for it? Sure. Yeah, so Nader says they call it milking when you leave the card out there in order to get more points on it. And that's a no thanks. That's what that's all about. If you like that idea, it's about how long can you let something sit out there and get some points for it. Green hippo. So because I drew it, I can go ahead and play it. That's actually very good. It raises the chances I'm going to win it. We're only down to 2 cards and the game's over. Over here, another red. Might as well play it out. And last call. That guy got the blue jerkhead. All right. So now what we do is we add our mystery cards to the cards we have in front of us, and we pay out. So here we go, mystery cards. So 3 flamingos. This is where the other players say bad words, and I put out my 3 flamingos, so I've probably got the win on that. Well, I know I do. I'm going to go ahead and put that there to mark it. Now we'll see. I never knew what these cards were. So this person got 2 more reds and a green. So boo. And this person got a green. So that makes it a tie. A tie means neither of the players get paid. Whoa. So that green in hand, it makes me say very bad words because that would have been a huge payout from everyone. Now no one gets paid for it. That's another flamingo and another brown. That's a tie for brown. So now we will see who's the lead in each one, and we'll see how the payout works. So green. 4 green here, 4 green here, 1 green here. That's a tie. No one gets paid for green. Orange. The only one with orange, but no one else took orange. There was no other orange out there. Therefore, I don't get any pay for orange. That's the trick. If no one gets in on your company, you don't get any bonus at the end of the game. So you get nothing for that, other than what you may have milked throughout by putting it out there and bullying people with it. Flamingos, I've got that. So I've got 4. He's got 3. He has to give me 3 chips for the 3 cards, and when I take the chips, I flip them over, they become 3 points each. That's where the big payouts happen, when you get someone to come along with you. And so that's that. Blue is over here, so I have to give him 2 of mine, and they flip over because I had 2 chips. Brown became a neutral. No one got it. And you might say there's cards missing. Well, that's because 5 cards are taken out of the deck. So you can see the impact of that now. There were only 6 out of the 8 brown that made it. There were only 3 out of the 5 orange that made it. The rest are all in there. So green is done. Brown is done. Red is the last one. So red is here. He's got the most, so he has to give him 3 ones. And they flip over. And that's the end of the game. So if we see who wins, I've got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Here it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And here it's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There we go. There's the win. So that's the game. This player won the game. Not because they only got 1 majority, but because they stayed out of getting in trouble. And that's as much the game as anything, is try to avoid getting in trouble. So there's startups. That's a cool little game. And this is something that's true with a lot of these Oink games. And many of these games have very few rules, but they're very clever. So you're trying to figure out the game, and you're like, well, there's not a lot of rules here. How can this game work? And only as you start to play it does it unfold. I find that's true with a lot of Japanese designed games, that there's very few rules, and I'll read the rules, and then I'll be like, well, what's going on here? And only as you play it does it unfurl, and you see the depth and the complexity of what's going on with this. So it's a really, really clever game. I like this. This will get added to my cruise ship pile. The nice thing about this is it's a very small game. It plays 3 to 7. So big groups are always good. It's not hard to explain, but it is a game that when you're done, oh, and one thing they've done, if you want to play multiple hands, they gave you these cool little scoring tokens that have +2 and -1 and +1. And so you score, and then these are awarded to the players who have the most and fewest points in the round. So your points don't directly turn into points for scoring multiple rounds. Instead, they turn into first place player will get +2, next place player will get +1, last place player gets -1, and you play a number of rounds and you add those up together. So that's very clever. And that's the game. So thank you for joining me on this episode of Board Games with Scott Live. Feel free to keep up with me over on YouTube. I've got a playlist where I'm putting all of these. And so you can sign up there if you want to be notified. I also post about it on my social media. I'm at S. Nicholson on Twitter and Professor Scott Nicholson on Facebook. So you can keep up with what's going on. And I'll continue doing this until I run out of my shrink-wrapped games, or probably until we get back going with students, where I'm doing this with my students.